All right, it's time for demolition. This whole interior of my RV is coming out. It's something I had planned to do, but just not right away. However, I have to get to rust that's underneath, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull this out now. My plan is to make a single twin bed bunk across the back, and then I'll make storage and maybe a desk on the sides here. Last time I tried to do any of this, I took this cabinet out off of that side, and I discovered that in Rialta, all of the screws are usually hidden. That's not the case here. I don't know why that's different. I don't think maybe that's original. Maybe it is, but like on all these cabinets, all the screws are on the insides and in between the panels, which made it really, really hard to take it out. But yeah, so that's what I'm up to. I'll go ahead and put it on time lapse and we'll see. Okay, it's going easier. It's going much easier than I thought it was going to go so far. But this is what we have on the inside of the Rialta. All right, I've got my load center over there, breaker boxes, got the wiring that comes all the way around under here and then goes to the generator and the plug and all that. That's my water tank. That's my water pump down there, which is something that I'm going to have to fix because it's not working. There's the cover for the generator, which looks like it's just screwed in. So I might actually simply be able to remove it. Same with the wheel well. It looks like it's just actually screwed in on the top. So I might actually be able to just remove that, patch it, and put it back in. The only problem, of course, is if it's welded down at the bottom. But I have to get all that crap off of it before I can know for sure. Now, this is one of the problems I have with the camper is it had this cat piss smell under the bed, and it's because when they built it, they had plastic down over the carpet, and then they built the cabinets on top of the plastic, and then they just cut the plastic off on the part of the carpet that was showing, leaving the carpet sealed. Well, if you get a break in the plastic and moisture gets down underneath, it molds and mildews underneath and makes a rotten smell. So once I get this all cleaned out of here, once Gatsby and I get this all cleaned out of here, one of the things I'm going to look into is pulling the carpet out. Although usually the carpets are glued down. I don't know about this one. And B, if it's glued down, I might rent a steam cleaner first and try to steam clean it. All right. I really got to stop starting with all right, but I peeled back the carpet. The carpet is glued to some foam, which is glued to the floor. I got a ton of rust in here. One of the tools that I want to buy, I was going to wait till my next paycheck, is a needle scaler that attaches to a rotary hammer. But anyways, over by the door, if you remember my last video, I cut myself on that. It's pretty sharp. But that's the rust shining through. I gotta fix that. And this is all sort of bumped up here. I hope that's not like rust underneath pushing it up, like ice, frost. And then there's this piece of wood here. Not sure what that's for, but I'm gonna cut that off so I can get a better look. Get a better look at all that nasty metal. I think this carpet's probably done. I'm trying to get the carpet off the side here, and it's glued on. So I'm going to try using this oscillating tool with a scraping bit to see if that makes it easy to get off. And yes, it does. Totally forgot to film that. I'm gonna go get a vacuum, clean up some of this crap. I'm not gonna film anymore till I get this clean because I think you get the idea. It's gonna take quite a while, and it sucks doing it. I totally lied about not filming. Actually, I'm gonna pry up this wood instead of trying to scrape all that off. I think that's what makes the most sense. So let's do that instead. I went to Harbor Freight and I got a heat gun to see if that would be more effective in removing this spray stuff. So I'm gonna give it a whirl. So right here on the inside panel, I've got some bubble rust forming, and I can see a daylight hole that I didn't see when I was in the wheel well. So I want to see if I can scrape that off, have a look underneath. Settings on this Bauer Harbor Freight gun. You have your temperature dial here, and I'm gathering that this is the fan speed. We'll start on 4. Fuck it, let's go all the way to the top. Let's take it to 11, boys. This ain't working great. Yeah, I'm disappointed. I was hoping this would work. It is working, just not real well. That's going to use too much electricity, take too much time. All right, at the risk of setting my camper on fire, I'm going to go get my propane torch. All right, let's try it with the torch. Nice to see that this stuff is flammable. That's great. That doesn't work well either. This must be a different stuff. Let's switch back to the oscillating scraper. See how that does. This seems to be working much better. All right, let's put it on time lapse and see how long it takes for me to do the whole thing. I forgot to record. This is really great news, he said sarcastically. All of this rust, this bubble rust, which is showing rust inside between the metal, this is right behind my shock tower. Like, I can see my shock right there. I'm gonna have to check and see where it's welded on that side. And I have to be really careful fixing this. Like, there's no cutting out. I'm gonna have to like grind off the worst parts of the rust and then just weld pieces of metal in to reinforce this. Oh, so good. I really want to find someone at Volkswagen to kick in the nuts for using this stuff, because I mean, look at it. It's just, oh, it's terrible, terrible, terrible. All right, let's take a look at, ow, I always hit my head on shit in here. Let's take a look at the shock tower. All right, so the shock tower is attached to this additional piece of metal that's welded on. And that little hole goes all the way through. So we'll use that as a measurement. So it goes about a 1/2 inch to the side of that, and then about the width of this flashlight to the other side. All right, so there's the hole. So right about here is the edge of the wide plate. And right about here is the other side, and I can sort of see evidence of the spot welds going down. So there's really, I guess, 3 layers. There's the brackets on the shock tower. Then there's that reinforcing metal plate, which is this, like it's exposed right there. So this is all the inner piece of metal has come off, and it comes over to here. So I guess all I can really do is little by little, I'll grind the piece away, and then I'll weld in a piece of metal across, and I'll weld it all the way through, and I'll keep doing that, and maybe I'll just do it like ribs. Yeah. Because the edge that the weld is on is already corroded. So I think probably what I want to do is I want to try to bridge the thing going across. This is the scariest thing so far that I've dealt with. Everything else is cosmetic. This is structural. It's a dirty, rotten bastard. Other thing I kind of figured out is where this stuff comes off easily, there's rust underneath. So I may not have to strip it all. I wish I could, but it's just too much work. But I'll just strip it off and I'll brush this and Cora-Seal it. And hopefully that'll take care of what it can. But of course, that moisture is probably wicking up along the seam. It's probably wicking up along the seam of the joint of the metal, so it's probably rotten in between. I don't know, I need 20 years out of this. Maybe 10, depending on if my diabetes gets worse. That's all I need. It's done it for 30 years so far, 25, 30 years. I just got to get it another 20 years. All right, well, I've had enough of that. That's been a party. One other fun thing I discovered is the generator cover is actually screwed down, but I'm not going to try to remove it all because I'd have to remove the water tank first, it's getting to be kind of like mission creep. I keep pulling more and more stuff off, and I need to kind of bring that to a halt. But the end is spot welded on and then screwed there. So if I can drill out the spot welds and take those screws out, I should be able to take this end piece off, fix the rust down below, and then put it back on. So that is actually one spot of good news. One tiny little depressing spot of good news. I'm not a fashionista. In fact, I'm a rank amateur. But one thing I do know is if you're having trouble with a project, it's important to accessorize. So after I got over my depression, over the horrible state of all this rust, I went to Harbor Freight and Home Depot and I got a couple items. One item I got is a light. It works with my Milwaukee tool set. I got a fiberglass blanket to catch sparks when I grind. And I got a drill bit. Hopefully that will catch it in the frame. Guess I could always just do it like this. I got a drill bit for grinding out spot welds. So I want to see if it works. Let's see if I can drill a spot weld. Because the thing I did the other day was just too much trouble. First thing I'm going to do is divot it. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is grind the... Now I can see the spot welds, so I'm gonna dimple it a little bit, and now looks like that worked a little bit, but I forgot to bring a hammer and chisel. Be right back. That worked really well. In fact, I might not even need to drill these. Yep, these seem to be just popping right off. Not a waste of money though. Always a good time to go spend money. Now I have that drill bit in case I need it for something else. All right, let me put this on time lapse and see if I can get this off. Okay, I've got the piece off the end, and I can see the gap right here. which has got to be welded back on. So I am actually thinking that, yes, I'm going to have to take the whole cover off. I'm going to have to take the propane tank out or move it. And to do that, I'm going to have to take the water tank out and move it. So more mission creep. But if I do that, then I'll have unobstructed access to this sheet metal. I can grind it all, brush it all. Because I mean, you can see there's a J channel right here, and this is completely bad. I can't take the fender well out. That doesn't work, and I'm actually starting to wonder what is actually holding up that side of the camper, because it's almost completely through on this side. It's completely through on that side. Like, there's like one little piece of metal right here that's all warped and bent. The roof is leaking. Like, is this entire side of the camper currently being held up by that one rusty piece of metal? That would be scary. Oh, this is the gift that keeps on giving. So it looks to me like there used to be a L bracket that was attached to this aluminum bar, the remains of one of them are here, and it was screwed in or bolted in and then welded down onto this piece of metal, which is the floor of the van, and that's what the whole thing rests on. And as you can see, it's not resting on anything. So on a dry day, I think what I need to do is come up with, I hope you can see it, but come up with a kind of a block that I'm going to weld up in here and then weld to this part of the frame so that it rests on that aluminum support. I don't know if I should try jacking the body up a little bit just to see if it moves, because I think that's why this is all warped, is I've got the weight on that cross piece, and it probably pushed it up. Well, now I definitely am done. The spot drill tool didn't work real well. It's just not very good. I've seen a slightly better one, not from Harbor Freight, so that's probably why. So maybe I'll order that one. I got a nice bump there on my hand where I smacked it with the hammer. Probably got a nice big bruise down there. Subdural hematoma. Probably going to have compartment syndrome, so I'll probably lose my hand. That'll be a party. But okay, I think this is all the fun I can stand right now, even with all the new toys. So this is the slaughter so far. But I mean, seriously though, this is not something that could have lasted for much longer. Fortunately, and it's because the walls leak. All right, this is dripping water. So up above in the ceiling, somewhere, some of that sealant is not sealing it the way it should. And it's all dripping down on both sides of the door. So it's probably not helping me that I've got the camper tilted on its side, so water's probably building up in the channel. So I'm gonna have to think about what I'm gonna do to fix this. Might take the door off to get access to this whole bracket properly. I'm afraid if I do that the whole thing will collapse. So I think I'm probably going to put a jack stand or something under this aluminum bar, and maybe even jack that up a little bit to see if this will rise in relationship to the body. If it does, then I'll try to engineer some kind of solution. What a Sunday. All right, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you the next part of this project.